This is Atrae Bilis with Homicide. When we filed in with the black t-shirted masses into the Shamrock Inn a few weeks ago, we were actually there to see another band. While watching the opening acts, serendipity intervened, and we were very struck by the dynamic and technically proficient performance of this quartet from Vancouver. I think I said something dumb after to the vocalist Jordan Berglund after their set, comparing them to Knocked Loose. After a much deeper dive into their latest album, it was the pachyderm heavy percussion that was similar, and the fact that Berglund and Knocked Loose's Brian Garris both have that clean cut, might be there to do your taxes look, and then proceeds to scream the color off the walls. However, this is where any similarity between those two bands ends.
Atrae Bilis is Latin for black bile, hearkening back to a book written in 1621 by Robert Burton, The Anatomy of Melancholy, a study theorizing that the preponderance of this substance is the reason for depression. Add to that the futuristic concept of the latest album, Homicide, that has a sci-fi storyline of a test subject trapped in a lab, subject to experiments that simulate different levels of hell. Their sound is also quite the mashup. Old school death metal, black metal oscillating warbles, and modern industrial effects on full display in these 10 new tracks ranging from 2 to 6 minutes for a runtime of just over 40 in total. It's like Gorguts meets Suffocation. In the opening instrumental track, Protoxenesis, after a feedback intro, the tritone oscillating death metal guitar reverb-filled tones of David Stepan-Vicious show off his prowess, while the metallic blast beats of Luka Govnik roll into doom rolls and back again. The hard panning adds to the dramatic effect. The other instrumental, Homicide, features alternating notes in a plaintive riff and a rampant of drums. The tempo slows to doom speed, while the initial riff reappears in infectious circles of jangles that stacks up the dense atmosphere.
In Hell Simulation, Berglund works himself up into a crazy tribal-like headbanging dance until he summons that demon inside to deliver that low vocal rasp full of toxicants. The guitar lines are a repeating hooky, down-tuned melodic strain. Miles Morrison picks equally reverberant tones from his bass. Gavednik drums with maniacal velocity with an occasional rollout before returning to full throttle. Then they throw in this industrial tech effect that makes the whole thing gurgle and blip for an instant. Berglund trades his growl for a higher-pitched shriek. The drums start to resemble the beating of a helicopter as many voices join in a fiendish choir. Some standouts include A Kingdom of Cortisol, with Gavednik's pummeling beats and much cymbal manhandling over the ethereal tones. Berglund's vocals sound like a vexed imp ripped into our plane, punctuating the lines here and there with an "oh." At other times, other voices stack in. There are a few seconds here and there of full stops. Stepan-Vicious's guitar soars like a wailing siren near the end. Excruciate Incarnate has that 3 notes sprightly off-kilter descent that breaks into some innocuous crunchy riffing. That effect distorts all to static briefly. The vocals here are in a higher enraged shriek. The bass and drum line play off each other as thick as thieves in a percussive force.
I think my favorite track is Salted in Stygia, with guitar work ranging from death metal pop up and down the scale to smoothed out flowy leads. Morrison has a bass breakout and pulls out thick, sonorous tones. The glitch effect appears here again, too, sounding somewhere between the creature in Predator and the invasion of the Upside Down in Stranger Things. Atrae Bilis is cerebral, complex, technically proficient death metal, solid as a brick wall songwriting. I think even Robert Burton would find catharsis for his depression by diving into the story that ends with a new era, erga gore, engineered by absolute godlessness. Plus, it's on $20 spin. For those with less heady pursuits, that should be ringing endorsement right there. When we are fortunate enough to catch these guys live again, I can predict with certainty that they're going to be in a bigger venue. So this is a song called Salted in Stygia.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.